So in this tutorial we want to create some 2D elements, and we're going to create this square, this arc or this circle, and then this rectangle. 2D breakout game using pure JavaScript. In this step-by-step tutorial we create a simple MDM breakout game written entirely on pure JavaScript and rendered on HTML canvas. Every step has editable live samples available to play with, so you can see what the intermediate stages should look like. You will learn the basics of using the canvas element to implement fundamental game mechanics like rendering and moving images, collision detection, control mechanisms, and winning and losing states. To get the most out of this series of articles, you should already have basic intermediate JavaScript knowledge. After working through this tutorial, you should be able to build your own simple web game. So this is pretty much an example. Here we're gonna have from 1 to 10. This is gonna be the series. Lesson details, all the lessons and different versions of the MDM breakout game we are building together are available on GitHub, so you can check out all of those in this GitHub repository. So all the lessons from 1 to 10 are here. Okay, so now we're gonna start with creating the canvas and draw on it. So we're gonna see that, but first of all, starting with pure JavaScript is the best way to get a solid knowledge of web game development. After that, you can pick any framework you like and use it for your projects. Frameworks are just tools built with JavaScript language, so even if you plan on working with them, it's good to learn about language itself first to know what exactly is going on under the hood. Frameworks speed up development time and help take care of boring parts of the game, but if something is not working as expected, you can always try and debug that or just write your own solutions in pure JavaScript. So if you're interested in learning about 2D web game development using a web library, consult this series, so you can check out this link. And pretty much we have that, so we're gonna move into the create a canvas and draw on it. So let's close this link. Here, this is the first step out of the 10 of the game dev canvas tutorial. You can find the source code. I should look after completing these lessons at the game dev canvas workshop lesson 1.html. Before we can start writing the game's functionality, we need to create a basic structure to render the game inside. This can be done using the HTML in the canvas element. So we are gonna create a folder first. Okay, so here, the game's HTML. The HTML document structure is quite simple, as the game will be rendered entirely on the canvas element using your favorite text editor. Create a new HTML document, save it as index.html and a sensible location, and add the following code to it. So let's create, let me see, game dev. Let's just name it game dev. So we are gonna go here and just pretty much just new folder, and we're gonna name it game dev like this, and right click, open in terminal, and we're gonna type in code space that, and this is gonna open it in Visual Studio Code. We can close the terminal. Okay, we can close this folder, and okay, so we are inside of this folder now, and we are gonna create, let me see, game dev. So we're gonna create the index.html file here, so that's fine. And let me see, so let's just copy this first, the HTML, and just paste it here. So since it's just basic HTML, and again, let's just right click and open it with live server. Let's see what we get, and we get this, pretty much this kind of like a square. Okay, and pretty much we have the doc type, that's fine. We have the HTML, then we have the head. Okay, we have the head, and then we have the body. So inside of the head we have the meta element, we have the title, and we have some style. So the meta, we have the char set to UTF-8, that's fine. The title, game dev canvas workshop, and you can see that the title here, so game dev canvas workshop. So let's close this link, that's fine. What else do we have here? That's the meta and the title element. So we also have some style. So we have some padding, is 0, the margin again is a 0, and then we have some canvas with a background. This is we're using this color EEE, but let's say we can, I don't know, maybe change it to red. So I'm just gonna pick that one and save it. Okay, so now it has changed to this red square, so you can play around with that, but let's just keep it simple with this, with the previous color, that is this triple E. Okay, so we have that in the style, so we have some CSS here. Okay, so we have some CSS, but it's inside of the HTML file, and this is for the head section. Now in the body we have a canvas and we have some script, and the JavaScript code goes in here, but we're just gonna create a file name main. So we're gonna just pretty much have source and then main.js, like that, so we can write our JavaScript in a separate file named main.js. So we can save it for now. We have that up to this point, so we have this script and we have the canvas, and the canvas has ID of my canvas with a width of 480 and a height of 320 pixels. So we have that up to this point, so let's keep moving. Okay, and again, you can play around with these values. Display black, so you can pretty much, let me see, we can just have it like that. So let's display, I don't know, maybe grid. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so it's doing it like this. You can press that and just, I don't know, maybe contents, save it, and nothing's happening. Okay, so let's just keep it like that, and let's just leave it like black. Okay, so we have that for now. We have the background. Okay, in the canvas we have the background, we have the display that is black, and then the margin we have it set to 0 and auto. So let's keep moving, and we have a chart set. Okay, so they're pretty much explaining it here. We have a chart set defined, we have the title and some basic CSS and the header. Okay, the body contains the canvas and the script elements. We will render the game inside the first one and write the JavaScript code that controls in the second one. So let me see, we have that one, we have here a style. Okay, let me see. Now we're gonna keep moving. The control, the second one, the canvas element has an ID of my canvas to allow us to easily grab a reference to it, and is 480 pixels wide and 320 pixels high. So this is the width and the height. All the JavaScript code we will write in this tutorial will go between the opening script and the closing script tags, but just omit that. We're gonna, I think it's better to just have it in a separate file, and we're gonna you can name it whatever you want. I name it main.js, so you just have to add the source attribute, and then inside of the double quotes you type in the name of your file. In my case is main.js. Okay, so then we have some canvas basics. To actually be able to render graphics on the canvas element, first we have to grab a reference to it in the JavaScript. Add the following below your opening script tag. So this one is the one that we're going to be typing in. So we're going to go into the main.js and we're going to have this constant declaration name. Let me see, we're going to name it canvas, and we're going to set it to something. So we're going to set it to the document that get element by ID. Okay, so document that get element by ID. Okay, and the ID is going to be, I think it was my canvas. Let me see if that is correct. Let me see, document that get element by ID, and it's gonna be my canvas, like that, but it's gonna be inside double quotes. Okay, so let's keep it like that. Okay, so we have that, and what else? So we have a next constant declaration. So we're gonna have this constant declaration named ctx. Okay, so it's gonna be ctx, and we're gonna set it to canvas that get context. So it's gonna be canvas that get context, like that. Canvas that get context. and inside of the double quotes we're gonna pass in a 2D. So we have that up to this point, and nothing is changing yet. So here we are storing a reference to the canvas element to the canvas variable. Then we're creating a ctx variable to store the 2D rendering context, the actual tool we can use to paint on the canvas. Okay, let's see an example piece of the code that prints a red square on the canvas. Add this below your previous lines of JavaScript, then load your index.html in a browser to try it out. So we already have our index.html here, and we're gonna be using this constant declaration named ctx. So it's gonna be ctx that we're gonna use some methods here, and it's gonna be the begin path. So it's gonna be begin, and then it's gonna be path. So camel notation. Okay, so we have that begin path, and also we're gonna have the ctx, and the method is gonna be rect 20 40 50 50. Okay, so we're gonna have the ctx, and it's gonna be rect. Okay, so it's gonna be rect like that. So pretty much here you have information, and you also have the MDN reference, so canvas path.rect. So we have the x number, y number, w number, and the height. So we're gonna have some parameters here. We're gonna have 20 40 and 50 50. So it's gonna be 20 40 50 and 50, and yeah, it has to be separated by a comma. So we separated by a comma, and then ended up this statement with a semicolon like that. And now we're gonna use the fill style. So okay, so we're gonna use the ctx that fill style, and we are gonna set it to number sign, uppercase letter F, and then it's gonna be 4 zeros. So it's gonna be double S 1 2 3 4 like that. Save it, and that up this one with the semicolon. Save it again. Okay, so nothing's changing yet, and now we're gonna have the ctx that fill. So we're gonna have the ctx that fill. Okay, oops, ctx that fill, semicolon at the end, ctx that fill, and then we're gonna have the ctx that, and it's gonna be close path. So it's gonna be close path. We can put a semicolon at the end, and just save it. Okay, so we have that up to this point. All the instructions are between the begin path and the close path. So as you can see, we have this constant declaration named ctx, and we are using it here, and we are starting ctx that begins begin path. Okay, so begin path. Let me see if I type it right. Okay, begin path. Okay, so yeah, I missed this one. Begin path, and then the ctx that rect. Okay, then we have the fill style, and then we're setting it to, okay, that's fine. Okay, so we are starting with begin path, and then we are ending with close path. So, and we have this red square, and you can play around with these values. Maybe, I don't know, maybe change to a D, and let's see if this changes, or just have dd here, and let's see if this modifies it a little bit. Now let me see, maybe, I don't know, yeah, you can play around with these values. Oh, okay, so this is not the one, but let me see if we can just play. We can, I think it was like that. Okay, so you have a white, so yeah, you can have different colors. We're gonna stick with the double F, and then 1 2 3 4. Let me see, yeah, that is the one. So we have this square, and inside this square we are beginning with this red square. Okay, Again, all the instructions are between the begin path and close path methods. We are defining a rectangle using the rectangle method. So we are having the ctx, that is the constant declaration, that is the variable, the ctx that rectangular. Okay, the first two values specify the coordinates of the top left corner of the rectangle on the canvas, while the second two specify the width and height of the rectangle. In our case, the rectangle is painted 20 pixels from the left side of the screen and 40 pixels from the top side. And let me just duplicate this tab, and pretty much what they're saying is, in our case, the rectangle is painted 20 pixels from the left side, so we have here 20 pixels from the left side, so we have 20 pixels from the left side, okay, from the left side on the screen, and 40 pixels from the top side, so we have it 40 pixels from the top side, as you can see here. And then we're gonna use 50, okay, and it's 50 pixels wide and 50 pixels high, so 50 pixels wide and 50 pixels high, which makes it a perfect square. The fill style property stores a color that will be used by the fill method to paint the square, in our case red. Okay, so the fill style property stores a color that will be used by the fill method to paint the square, in our case red. We are not limited to rectangles. Here is a piece of code for printing out a green circle. Try adding this to the bottom of your JavaScript, saving and refreshing. So let me see. Yeah, we can go below and just pretty much ctx that, and we're gonna have begin path, so it's gonna be begin path, and this time is gonna be okay, so we're just gonna have that. Let me see, we're not limited to rectangle. Here's a piece of code for printing out a green circle. Try adding this to the bottom of your JavaScript, saving and refreshing. Okay, so we just add it, we don't eliminate the second one. We'll continue with the ctx.arc, so we're gonna open parentheses and we're gonna have the 240 and 160. Okay, so then we are gonna have in 20 and then 0. Okay, then we are gonna have the property math, and we're gonna multiply it by pi like this, and then we are gonna multiply by 2, comma, and then it's gonna be false like that. We can save it up to this point, and let me see if something has changed. Okay, oops, let's keep this one red, and I think the color was double F and then 1 2 3 4 0. Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. So now we have the begin path. Okay, so we have arc 240 160 20 0 math that pi multiplied by 2 and then false, and there with a semicolon. And this is the arc. Now we're gonna have in the fill style, so it's gonna be ctx that fill style, so it's gonna be fill style. We're gonna open parentheses. Oh no, we're gonna set it to just green, so inside double quotes we're just gonna type in green, and then we're gonna move to the ctx that fill like that, ctx that fill semi. Okay, so semicolon at the end. Let's save it for now, and as you can see, we already are starting to see the circle. And now we're just, since we started with the begin path, we're gonna close the path, so it's gonna be ctx that, and it's gonna be close path like this. Okay, so let me ctx close path. We have ctx fill. Okay, so everything is fine. Okay, so we have that. Let me see what else do we have here. Okay, as you can see, we're using the begin path and close path methods again. Between them, the most important part of the code above is the arc method. It takes 6 parameters, so we have the x and y coordinates of the arc center, arc radius, start angle, and end angle. what angle to start and finish drawing the circle and radians, direction on drawing, false for clockwise, the default, or true for anti-clockwise. The last parameter is optional. The fill style property looks different than before. This is because, just as with CSS, color can be specified as a hexadecimal value, a color key, a color keyword, the RGBA function, or any of the other available color methods. Instead of using the fill method and the filling the shapes with colors, we can use the stroke method to only color the outer stroke. Try adding this code to your JavaScript too. So we're gonna go just below here in our main.js file, and let me see, we are gonna have in the CTX again, we're gonna have in the CTX that begin path. Okay, so we're gonna open parentheses, okay, begin path, then we're gonna have in the CTX that, and this time it's not gonna be rectangle or arc. Well, this time it's gonna be a rectangle too, but this time the parameters are gonna change. So we're gonna have the rectangle, and the rectangle is gonna be 160. It's gonna be 10, 100, and then 0. Okay, semicolon at the end. And now we're gonna have the CTX that, we're gonna have the stroke, we're gonna have the stroke style, and we're gonna set it to the RGB. So it's gonna be RGBA, so the RGBA, and inside of the RGBA we're gonna pass in some parameters. So it's gonna be 0, 0, okay, 0, 0, and then we're gonna have 255, and finally 0.5. So let's save it up to this point. Let's see if something has changed. Okay, so nothing has changed yet. Let me see. So we have the begin path, we have rect. Let me see, instead of oh, here has to be 40. So we have 160, 10, 100, and then 40. So yeah, we have that up to this point. Then we have the CTX, we have the CTX stroke style, CTX stroke style, and we are setting it to the RGBA, and we're passing 00, 255, and then 0.5, and then we're gonna call in the stroke function. So it's gonna be semicolon at the end. We're gonna have the CTX that stroke, and let me see, we are gonna have in the parentheses semicolon at the end, and then finally, okay, we can save it up to this point. So something has, okay, as you can see, it's we already have it here. And finally we're gonna have the CTX that close path. We have a set of parentheses or empty parentheses, and then a final semicolon at the end. So this is what we have here. Okay, so the code above prints a blue stroke empty rectangle. So this is an empty rectangle. It's not a square, it's an empty rectangle. Okay, thanks to the alpha channel and the RGBA function. So again, we are using here, we are setting it to the RGBA function, and we're passing some parameters. Okay, the blue color is semi-transparent. Compare your code. Here's the full source code for the first lesson running live in a JS Fiddle, so you can check out this code. So you have this JavaScript, we have some basic HTML, and we don't have CSS. So we have the CSS, but it's inside of the HTML, and it's just in the style. So in the style we have the asterisk, and then we have some canvas. So that's pretty much it. Let me see, next step. So now we set up the basic HTML and learn a bit about canvas. Let's continue to the second chapter and work out the move the ball in our game. So yeah, that's pretty much it, all that we have for the start on the create a canvas and draw on it. So